Good morning. This is the second class on our chapter superconductivity. In the last class, we have discussed about the definitions for superconductivity, right? Now, today we will deal with some materials which are under research to find their superconducting nature, and also we learn about one of the most important phenomenon of superconductors, that is Meissner effect. Okay. So first let us discuss about the occurrence of superconductivity. Now, uh, what are superconductors? That is, for certain materials, when they are cooled below a certain temperature, their resistivity disappears, and that phenomenon is superconductivity, and those materials are called superconductors, that we have already discussed in the last class. So very soon after that discovery of superconductivity, many research was done in several metals and metal alloys, and that research led to the observation of a superconducting transition in several materials at very low temperatures. That is, uh, under some researches, it was found that certain materials exhibited this phenomenon of superconductivity, especially at very low temperatures. Some of those materials were aluminum, that is, they exhibited superconducting nature at a critical temperature Tc of about 1.2 Kelvin. Then comes tin, then lead, niobium, like that. So these materials, scientists observed that when they are cooled or below a particular critical temperature, they showed the phenomenon of superconductivity. So they have given the name for those materials as low Tc superconductors. Tc means critical temperature. So low critical temperature superconductors. That means superconductors, materials that exhibit superconductivity at low critical temperatures. So those materials were called low Tc superconductors because they show superconductivity at temperature in the range from 1 Kelvin to about 30 Kelvin. Now, at extremely low critical temperatures, these superconductors are not suitable for large scale applications because it is said that these materials exhibit the phenomenon of superconductivity only at low critical temperatures. But this low critical temperature is practically it is not suitable for large scale applications. Okay. So, further researches were also done in this field in order to find out whether there is any material that exhibits superconductivity at high critical temperature. Okay, because this low critical temperature or attaining such a low critical temperature is practically not possible. At the same time, it is expensive and not that much practical. Okay, so research was directed towards the search for high critical temperature superconductors. Now, these materials that exhibit superconductivity at low critical temperatures were called low Tc superconductors, and they are also called by the name conventional superconductors. Okay. Now, another superconductors, as I said, researches were done to find out whether there is any materials that exhibit superconductivity at high critical temperature. So, research was successful, and the scientists were able to develop such high Tc superconductors, that is, materials that exhibit superconductivity at high critical temperatures, especially above 30 Kelvin, and they were called by the name unconventional superconductors. Now, one such high Tc superconductor is copper oxide based ceramic superconductors or cuprate superconductors. So, that is a high Tc superconductor, that is, they exhibit superconductivity at high critical temperature, say about 30 Kelvin. Okay. Now, these materials was discovered by the scientists George Penrose and Alan Muller, and for that discovery, they were awarded Nobel Prize in Physics in 1987. Then, the first high Tc material developed by them was LaBaCuO4, that is lanthanum barium copper oxide, and it is having a critical temperature of 30 Kelvin. Now again, several cuprate superconductors were developed, that is yttrium, barium, copper oxide, etc. Then in additional to this cuprate superconductors, a few more high Tc superconductors were developed, and they were mainly fullerene based superconductors. Okay. So these were these are the materials. The first discovery was on low TC superconductors, then comes high TC superconductors, then cuprate superconductors, and finally fullerene based superconductors. So when you are asked to write a few materials that exhibit superconductivity, you can start from the beginning. Just mention a paragraph about each and include one or two examples. Okay. Now at present, the temperature, high critical temperature that is obtained is 203 Kelvin, and that is exhibited by hydrogen sulfide. That is, hydrogen sulfide is now supposed to be a high TC superconductor. That is the exhibited superconductivity and high critical temperature, which is 203 Kelvin, and a high pressure for about 150 gigapascals. So that is the journey of superconductors, starting from low TC superconductor, high TC superconductor, cuprate based superconductors, then fullerene based superconductors, and finally hydrogen sulfide. Next comes Meissner effect. So Meissner effect is a very important question, and it will be definitely asked for your exam. That is, explain what is Meissner effect and explain Meissner effect. So study this very well. Okay. Now, two scientists, Meissner and Olsenfeld, found that magnetic field and superconductivity are mutually exclusive. Now, here comes the definition for this Meissner effect. That is, when a weak magnetic field is applied to a superconducting specimen below its critical temperature, it expels magnetic flux initially held and acts as an ideal diamagnet. This phenomenon is called Meissner effect. That is nothing. If it is difficult for you to write this paragraph, you can write like this. That is, when a superconductor is cooled below critical temperature, that is TC, it expels magnetic flux lines and behave as a diamagnet. This phenomenon is called Meissner effect. That is, you are having a superconductor and you are cooling it below TC in the presence of a magnetic field. That is important. That is, you have a superconductor and you are trying to cool it below critical temperature in the presence of a magnetic field. Then what happens? That superconductor will expel, that is, it will give off its magnetic flux lines and will behave as a diamagnet. This phenomenon is called Meissner effect. So what is Meissner effect? That is, when a superconductor is cooled below critical temperature in the presence of a magnetic field, it expels magnetic flux lines and behave as a diamagnet. This phenomenon is called Meissner effect. So note it down. Okay. Now this below figure illustrates the phenomenon of Meissner effect. See, the first figure shows the situation when the temperature is greater than critical temperature, and the second figure shows the condition at temperature less than critical temperature. See, that is, this explains this figure explains the phenomenon of Meissner effect. That is, a superconductor is cooled below critical temperature in the presence of a magnetic field. Then it expels magnetic flux lines. See, the magnetic flux lines are given off out of the specimen. Okay. And it will behave, this superconductor will behave as a diamagnet. So this is the phenomenon of Meissner effect. Now Meissner effect is reversible. That is, suppose that now you are again raising the temperature above critical temperature. Then what happens? Those magnetic flux lines that were expelled, that is, those magnetic lines which were given off by the specimen, will now penetrate into the material. See, penetrating into the material and give rise to the normal state. That is, the material will come back from the superconducting state to the normal state. Okay. So, Meissner effect is reversible. So, I will explain once more. Meissner effect, what is meant by Meissner effect? When a superconductor is cooled below critical temperature in the presence of a magnetic field, it expels magnetic flux lines and behave as a diamagnet. This phenomenon is called Meissner effect. It is illustrated in the figures given below. That is, when T is less than Tc, the material expels magnetic flux lines and it is behaving as a diamagnet. That is, it will behave as a superconductor. Now, when we increase the temperature above critical temperature, those magnetic flux lines that were expelled out will now penetrate through the material and the material will come back to its normal state. That is, the material will come back from the superconducting state to the normal state, and that is shown in the first figure. Okay, hope it is clear. Now, Meissner effect shows that in a bulk superconductor, the magnetic flux density, that is B, is 0. So the magnetic flux density is given by the relation B equal to mu 0 H plus M. H is the magnetizing field intensity and M is a magnetization. Now this magnetization M and magnetic field intensity H is related by M is equal to chi H, where chi is the magnetic susceptibility. So what is magnetic susceptibility? It is the ratio of magnetization M to magnetizing field intensity H. Now just substitute the value of M given by equation 2 in equation 1. Then we get B is equal to mu 0 H plus chi H. Here H is common, it's taken out. So what is left in the bracket is 1 plus chi. Now we already said that B is 0 inside a superconductor. So the above equation will become 0 equal to mu 0 1 plus chi H. Now that means that chi is equal to minus 1, which is nothing but the condition for a perfect magnet. That is, for a perfect diamagnet, this magnetic susceptibility chi will be minus 1. That is, the magnetization cancels the external field intensity. Now this diamagnetic behavior of a superconductor, we cannot just explain it by considering the medium of zero resistivity. Why? Because when resistivity is 0, our Ohm's law, that is E equal to rho G, demands a zero electric field in the superconductor. Okay, but according to Faraday's law, B should be a constant, but that is against Meissner effect. So we can conclude that the behavior of a superconductor is different from that of a perfect conductor. Superconductor and perfect conductor are different. And superconducting state is a characteristic phase in which substance cannot sustain steady electric field or magnetic field. That is, E equal to 0 and B equal to 0. That is the condition for a superconductor. That is, zero resistivity and perfect diamagnetism. E equal to 0 means zero resistivity and B equal to 0 means diamagnetism, perfect diamagnetism. So here you need not write the whole paragraph, just mention this much, that is enough, and write like this, that is, zero resistivity and perfect diamagnetism are the characteristics of a superconductor. That is, write this paragraph that is underlined, and E equal to 0 and B equal to 0, that also you have to write, and finally write zero resistivity and perfect diamagnetism are the two characteristics of a material in the superconducting state. Now we can explain this Meissner effect by using certain London equations, and London equation states that this magnetic flux density, that is B, in a superconductor decays exponentially from its value of the surface. That is, as we are taking a superconductor, and as we go deep into the superconductor from the surface, the value of magnetic flux density, that is B, decreases exponentially. That is explained by London equation, but you don't have to study London equation, they are just mentioning here. Now the field can penetrate only by a short distance lambda. Now this penetration can take place only up to a very short distance, say lambda, and that is called penetration depth. And after that it will decay to 0. So for most superconductors, the value of this penetration depth is of the order of 100 nanometer. Okay, so here in today's session, what is important is Meissner effect. And just study that very well. Explain in detail. Okay, Meissner effect. Okay, for today this is enough. Thank you.